Aboru aboye aboshishe. In the game of chess, we find a perfect map of the human psyche, of the human spirit. And of all of the pieces that you find on the board, the most important piece is the king. The most important piece in the game is the king. You can lose all the pieces, but as soon as the king is captured, the game is over. That king represents I. That is Ori. The king is Ori. Ori Baba Umbogo. Ori is the king of all. Ori is I. That's the king. Next to the king, who is a macrocosm of the king's capacity, who can move in all of the exact same ways as the king, but with limitless range, is the queen, or Lori. Interestingly enough, is queen or Lori. And the queen represents that feminine dimension, which is dynamic, which is in motion, which is perpetually changing and transforming, which is limitless. The feminine capacity for change and transformation, reach and scope is limitless, right? That is the mind. That is the thinking mind. That is what people sometimes call the ego. Yes? Now, the queen is powerful only to the extent that she is anchored by the king. The mind is only powerful to the extent that it is anchored by Ori, by the spirit, by the soul, by destiny. Ori is destiny. Ori is not the thinking mind. Okay? It's not the brain. Ori is destiny. Ori is the composite of all beingness. It's the essence of who you are, why you're here, how you operate, is Ori. The mind, the thinking mind, the dynamic capacity that we have as individuals is only powerful to the extent that it is anchored in our eternal presence, our Ori. Yes? And then all of the other pieces, likewise, they are used to create leverage, to control space, to create the environment that will protect the I, and at the same time allow the I to expand and overcome the opposing force that is coming in the form of all of the outside world. All of those things that threaten to jeopardize or overcome the I, the true I, the one that chooses. It is the king that chooses how to move the pawns and the rooks and the bishops and the knights. It's the king that decides how those pieces need to move in order to keep the game in play. Or stated differently, all of those pieces move independently with the full knowledge that their reason for being is to protect the king in order to keep the game in play. Otherwise, their existence is in vain. They can go and get captured, but if it's just willy-nilly, then they've just given their lives for nothing. So the king is the anchor of the entire game of chess. So is Ori the anchor of everything that you do. The different deities and divinities, the ancestors, all of those things, all those entities matter to the extent that they are supporting the I, the Ori. Okay? Likewise, the pawn itself, which is the smallest, the lowliest, the slowest moving, it has the capacity to reach all the way over to the other side of the board and become renewed. It can become reborn as anything, even a queen, but not a king. You will not have two eyes. You will not be two essences. You are one essence, but it can be amplified. You can have two queens. You can have three queens. You can have four queens. I don't know of any limit of the number of pawns that can be renewed as queens. I don't know if there is a limit, but there certainly can only be one eye, one ori, and that ori can only be enhanced and amplified and made more powerful and more strong. Okay, and so when you want to hone the clarity of your eye, the clarity of your destiny, the clarity of your being and reason for existing, so that you can have a greater command over all of the other dimensions of your personal power, that is when you must come and ask Ifa, Aboru Aboye, Aboshishe,